For some reason, I keep buying new microphones. So here we are. I actually said in my last video that I was actually only going to be focusing on the RE20 and the Shure SF7B, but then I was on eBay and then I saw the RE27. The RE27 is actually kind of like really was the original mic that got me into sort of like looking into the Electro-Voice RE20 series. And that is because MKBHD uses this. And I've been following his channel for God knows how long. And I kind of in my mind was just like, well, you know what? If he's using the RE27, it must be a good mic. But I don't know his expertise levels on audios, but I think he's got an audio guy there. And if he's using the RE27, I think, okay, cool. It must be a really good mic. But I ended up getting the RE20 because it's actually a bit more widely popular. Different audio reviewers have actually stated that this microphone is probably their preferred. Equally, I prefer this color in black. But nonetheless, the RE27 is the microphone that MKBHD actually uses on his podcast. This one's a used one, and I'm taking a bit of a punt because I think brand new here in the UK, this microphone's like over £700. I found this one on eBay and it was at £450, but it did have a make offer option, and on top of that, there's a 10% off code that I could actually put through as a coupon. So I put through an offer of £400. The offer was accepted. I used my 10% off code, and then I got this microphone for $360. They've marked it as a grade A, so as a grade A should be, in my mind, a good one. But there were a couple of things that they mentioned on the description, and that is they didn't test the microphone. They just said they just tested if it turns on or something like that. Equally, it doesn't come with a box. Again, the description was so misleading because in the description it said that it doesn't come with basically anything. It's just the microphone itself. But the image itself had a pop shield, had a stand, and so I don't know what I'm going to get inside this box. So that's another reason why I am recording this video, just to show what is actually inside the box. And generally speaking, for me, I'm a bit paranoid. Whenever I open anything up from eBay that I order from, I always get the camera out to make sure that I'm recording what's inside. Anyway, so let's get to it. And this is the RE27. So the advertisement did actually state that there was actually some discoloration on the sides of the body, and I guess that's what they're talking about. Overall though, it's not in terrible condition. I essentially got it for half the price, so I guess I got what I paid for. It's actually in better condition than I thought it would be. It's definitely not in perfect condition. There are quite a few signs of use. But overall, not too bad. Even when I ordered my Electro-Voice RE20 right here, the one I've got sitting right here, it actually came with, and they forgot to include this mount. So he did resolve it, thankfully. He actually just ordered a brand new one for me to get shipped out. So that got problems resolved, and this was a brand new one. So this cost £50 here in the UK. So it's good that they've included that. Now this stand is butt ugly. I don't know if I'd actually ever use this thing again. But equally, the irony. Sure. Now this looks very well used. I guess there's nothing else to it other than just to check it out. You know, I actually figured I would plug it into this mic stand, but my OCD is killing me right now because this is lower down than this. Done something a bit stupid. I forgot to hit record on the Rodecaster Pro 2. So what I actually ended up doing, a lot of the audio is going straight into my A7S. I have no idea how it's going to sound, so I don't think I said it correctly because I wasn't actually going to bank on that, but I forgot to hit record on that. So if the audio sounds shit for the first half, my bad. So this is just going to be a quick test between the RE20 and the RE27. The RE27 is actually set on the RE20 preset. I turned the processing off and it's at 51 dB. Apparently, again, in one of the videos, someone left a comment saying that even when you set the microphone profile, there is some processing going on. Now, this microphone came with this windshield. One of the criticisms I had with this microphone is that it was so susceptible to hearing my breathing and plosives. So it makes sense that this came with a windshield, but this is not really what I would ever use again in my life. I think, to be honest, I might even just dispose of it. I don't need this. I don't want this in my life. Now I've got no windshield on either microphone. I've got them on their same mic stand now, so they should be coming at the same height, the same angle towards my face. I'm trying to talk directly in between them. I might even separate them out a little bit just so it's less susceptible to the plosives. Equally, hands off the table, because I don't want to get involved with touching this because it's very sensitive. I know that from one of my first tests that it was actually so sensitive, it was picking up the sounds from the hard drive scratching on the table. So if I go completely silent, I think even this one's still registering some audio being picked up. There could be, I do have the window open, so it's not like completely dead silent and the room's not sound treated. But if I was just to do a couple taps on the table, it picks up quite a lot. Let me show you here. As you can see, I'm not tapping excessively hard. I actually now have a shadow in my face because I haven't worked out my desk setup 100% yet. I've just ordered a new desk. Once I reset that up, I'll get this all looking good. But right now, the light is bouncing to the wall with my overhead camera now pushed further out so you can get a better view of the microphones. But equally now it's casting a shadow on my face. We are going to run with it. So as before, just so there's some audio so you can actually hear the A/B testing as I switch back and forth, both on the RE20 preset, processing turned off. This is at 55 dB though, and this is at 51. I left this one at 51 because I did notice this is a bit more sensitive than this microphone. Overall, for £360, I'm not too upset with the condition of this. It does have a lot of discoloration on the side of things. It's got a lot of signs of use. But nonetheless, if the microphone works for 360 quid, that's like half the price. I'm actually curious to see how this sounds on my voice, because when I watched the review from the podcast stage, he talks about how he prefers RE20, but he does have a higher pitched voice than I do. And then on the Waveform podcast, Marcus Brownlee, MKBHD, he actually prefers to use the RE27 on his voice, and he's got a relatively deep voice, and he prefers it over the Shure SM7B. And there's actually one podcast when they actually did some sound comparison tests with it, and it does sound a lot better on this one, so I'll be very curious to see how this sounds on my voice. So I'm a little bit annoyed with myself, because in the last video, I did actually say it was going to be the RE20, the Shure SM7B, and it was going to be those two microphones. I just need to choose between those two. And then I came across the RE27, and ironically, it was actually the RE27 that actually made me want to get into audio, because of the fact that when I saw that Waveform podcast where they got the microphones gifted to them by Colorware, I think it was, and they actually had customized Shure SM7Bs and an RE27 for the team, because MKBHD uses the RE27, he chooses that over the SM7B. And then when they did the comparisons there, I thought, man, the audio in this sounds so much better. And it was actually this microphone that led me down the path where I actually learned about this microphone, because other reviews were saying this is better than this. But I've been following MKBHD for many years now, and I trust his opinion in a lot of tech and all this type of stuff. So it was one of those things where I thought, if this is the microphone that he's using, it must be for a reason. Clearly, when I'm hearing the results on his channel, I can hear the difference, and I agree that the RE27 suits his voice. Just wasn't sure how it sounded on mine. I do have a relatively deep voice, and this microphone is reviewed to be relatively bright, so it could actually compensate for that, and this actually could suit me better, but we'll see. But I actually don't even know if this microphone works, because I actually haven't even heard the audio back myself. I'm not listening through headphones, and I've got it recording into the Rodecaster Pro 2, and then once I put it into my editing software, then I'll give it a good listen, and then I'll probably just leave some written notes at the end of the video. But until then, that's a quick unboxing of the RE27 and a quick comparison against the RE20.